Purple Daily is daily Vikings entertainment. You just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die.
I will ride with this group.
Seriously, man. Please.
And away we go.
Little Saturday checkdown episode, just like old times, just like we do in the off season. Vikings don't play till Monday night. We'll give you our purple picks tomorrow on the Purple Daily feeds. But a couple things to get into, including Daniel Jones' status on this roster here. But let's first say hello to Black Stack Brewing, which you can find all across the state of Minnesota, from Grand Marais to Rochester to Fargo down to Winona, and also now expanded distribution into Wisconsin, Nebraska, and South Dakota. And if the Vikings do play another home game, you can find inside U.S. Bank Stadium during Vikings games, blackstackbrewing.com's where to buy page. Also, highly recommend the second largest tap room in the state of Minnesota, Black Stack, with their extensive beer selection that goes beyond what you can find in the liquor stores. They also have hard seltzer cocktails, boozy slushies, a 190-inch big screen. They have food trucks and pop-ups every day. Awesome, awesome spot. If you've never been there, stop into their tap room, blackstackbrewing.com, to see what events they are hosting in the coming days here. So, Judd, let's throw this one to you. You've been out there at Vikings practice facility. The Vikings put Daniel Jones on the 53-man roster here, in part because if he were to go sign somewhere else, the Vikings, they have to put him on the 53 if they want him to factor into the compensatory pick. Like, if he signs somewhere else, depending on what that contract is, he could factor in big time to the Vikings getting a comp pick in 2026. But does that mean is he like an injury away from going in? Could he get into a game, I guess, is my question.
So I initially thought that the entire reason why he was moved up to the active 53-man roster and Rippon was waived and then subsequently re-signed to the practice squad, so they basically just traded places, was because of the compensatory pick formula. Until Kevin O'Connell was asked about this yesterday, I believe the questions, to give credit, Will Ragetz of SI.com asked if Jones could be more than the emergency quarterback, and which is the third guy. So if you're the way that the rules stipulated now, you have a third quarterback that can go in a game, but obviously cannot supersede the guy who's designated as the number two or the backup. So Kevin O'Connell said, hey, you know what? Yeah, Jones has played great. He's been doing a lot of good work, scout team stuff. Basically, when he has gotten reps, he's played well. He then credited all of the quarterbacks, of course, because he didn't want to leave guys out.
No.
But he basically said, we will do whatever is the best thing for us to win games, to be competitive. And then our friend Kevin Seifert of ESPN said, does that mean that Daniel Jones could be the number two quarterback for Monday night's game? And O'Connell got that O'Connell smirk and reiterated, we will do whatever is the best for us. So I think, yes, O'Connell, my experience with O'Connell is he doesn't like to lie. So instead of saying, no, of course not, Nick Mullens is our guy, he's our two, and then it turns out he's not, O'Connell sort of dodges questions, but he does it with enough of room for interpretation. And I think personally, with the way that question was answered, that Daniel Jones, the only quarterback on the Vikings roster with playoff experience, who beat the Vikings in 2022 and played pretty damn well before being destroyed by Philadelphia in the next game. Yeah. I think Daniel Jones will be the number two quarterback on Monday night, and Nick Mullens will become the number three emergency guy.
Who would you guys, in a complete emergency situation, let's say Sam Darnold gets wrecked on a sack or something, and oh my gosh, he's not getting up this time.
Yep.
Would you feel more comfortable with Daniel Jones playing nearly a full game against the Rams or Nick Mullens?
Boy.
Go ahead, Dex.
I mean, Mullens still has a lot of the Darnold characteristics in him. Like he's gonna push the ball. He's gonna throw some dangerous passes. He's more familiar with the offense. Jones is obviously probably the more safer one, right? But he also can create with his legs. He can run around a little bit. He can improvise more. Boy, it basically comes down to which method do I prefer. I actually think I probably prefer Mullens. because he's more familiar and he can do. He's going to be asked to do the things that Darnold can do. I think that's where I would go here.
I think O'Connell's familiarity with the YOLO style of Nick is why he is not going to be the backup. Jones has, I think that in O'Connell's mind, he has more ability to know what he's going to get from Daniel Jones than Mullens. And I think what scares him about Nick is in the limited time that we saw him, especially play substantial snaps and start, I think, 3 games last season, there were times when Nick, quite frankly, despite the fact he threw for a ton of yards, freaked out. And he was, I believe the play that really was the nail in the coffin of him getting substantial time was that play in Cincinnati, that early December game where he's being sacked and it's just hopeless, which is fine. You just take the sack. Yeah. And as the football people say, live to fight another down.
The ball just flies up in the air.
And he decided to just throw the ball up in the air, and it got picked off. So look, I also think, here's my question about this entire thing, okay? Because, Phil, yeah, you're right. If Darnold gets hurt, there could be an issue there. You're going to have to pick a quarterback. And just for the sake of this conversation, don't forget, although he was a full participant in practice this week, Darnold has shown up on the injury report with a quad now, which is, I think, the problem stemming from the Detroit game when he was limping late in that game. But here's my real question. Is this also O'Connell sort of having had an eye-opening moment in the Detroit game? Darnold's melting down, and he couldn't get him to stop it. And he couldn't lift him. Like, I'm sorry, but you were not going to put Nick Mullens into that game. And I wonder if this is our season's on the line, and I don't expect this, but let's say Darnold goes completely sideways again, and he cannot complete a pass. Like, he's overthrowing guys. Would there be a scenario, and this is like a very small percentage, where you would say, okay, Daniel Jones has been here now for 6 weeks. He knows our system. And quite frankly, I can no longer trust Sam.
No. Like, performance? You're saying, like,
I'm saying
at halftime, they go in the locker room and they're like, guys, like the Jaguars game.
We can't trust him.
We're turning to Daniel Jones. We're going to do this.
Crazy.
I agree.
I can't see that.
I agree, but I think it's another reason why he's the backup. I think he's going to be the backup.
Yeah. Well, a couple things. He has more starts, or I should say he has the same number of starts in his career, Daniel Jones, as Joe Burrow. No, he's not. I'm not comparing those guys in any other way, shape, or form.
Typical Mackey. I've heard this before.
But if you're looking for someone that has gone out there 70 times in their career as a starting quarterback, has played in a playoff game, and the one thing that Daniel Jones will make sure of is that he's probably not going to throw interceptions. His career interception rate is very, very low. And if it's all right, listen, we need someone to go out there and just like stop turning the ball over. I don't think there's any scenario in which he is ready at this point in his quarterback rehabilitation university journey.
I agree for the most part.
To come in for performance reasons.
I agree for the most part, yeah.
And on Mullens, Mullens has some major recklessness to his game, but he's come in cold twice this season on like third down. Hey, we need a big chunk play, a 15-yard gain right now.
Right. And
he has delivered in those spots. And he will continue to find receivers down the field. Daniel Jones, a lot of like bail, kind of Christian Ponder, like first read's not there, bail, run, check downs. So it's wildly different experiences that you would get between Daniel Jones and Nick Mullens. To answer my own question, I would put Nick Mullens in, just more experience with the system. If I'm in a position where Darnold is out, or like you probably need points at this point. You need to score 21 or 24 points. And I trust Nick Mullens Nick Mullens threw for 400 plus yards against the Lions. But he's scared. But the problem is he's scared the coach. He's scared. Yeah, but Daniel Jones isn't going to. You think Daniel Jones hasn't scared a coach or two
all the backup quarterbacks?
Well, sure.
Scare the coach.
But Daniel Jones is going to be more conservative, which is what O'Connell would want.
Does he?
Dude, Nick Mullens threw a ball into straight up. That scared O'Connell beyond belief. I'm telling you, that play against the Bengals.
but the Vikings playoff loss ended because the quarterback was conservative in 2022.
Right, but
like I don't think KOC wants conservative. I think there's a difference between conservative and recklessness.
Right, but he does exactly. He doesn't. He will take conservative because he thinks he can control that more over the recklessness of Mullens. Look, if Mullens has to play a few plays, you're right. He proved it. He came in and made nice plays. I think he's definitely got a good arm. The issue with Nick is, I think if you think, let's say that Darnold gets hurt in the third quarter, close game. I think there's some real concern about, okay, now Nick Mullens has to run a game. Ugh, do we want that?
I would say this, if it's middle of a game, give me Mullens because he's shown he can do it. He can come in, boom. If it's a full week of preparation and they feel like Daniel Jones is ready, I would probably take those 70 games of experience and see how KOC could Frankenstein him. If it was like, hey, Darnold's out,
right.
You won the game, and now you're going
right.
You're going on the road or something. Okay, one last question on Daniel Jones, and then we've got Vikings All-Pro list came out. Do you think right now Daniel Jones is a Viking in 2025?
Yes. Yes, I do. In fact, I think that this move might have been, and again, if you could provide me the reckless speculation cover.
Sure, hold on.
Thank you.
1 second, hold on.
Reckless speculation.
I think that there's a chance that this move has more to do with that than a compensatory pick. And I think that this might have been part of the agreement of, hey, because it just...
We'll keep you progressing through
the
coursework and quarterback rehab.
Exactly right. Which is why they obviously do not want to play him against the Rams in a playoff game. But yes, I think this move up to the active roster shows that there's probably a better chance that he's back, which, by the way, could be a very smart move. Like him coming here and sitting for 6 weeks on a practice squad after the hell that he experienced with the Giants was probably a really smart move by Daniel Jones.
Does Daniel Jones have a better chance to be on the Vikings roster right now than Sam Darnold in 2025?
Yes.
That's
yes,
where we're at here.
I think it's yes.
Question. I think it's yes,
yes,
too.
he does.
Here's another question. Do you believe the projected contract figures that Spotrac put out this week?
Oh,
and I'm getting this from the Purple Persuasion threw this out here, so credit to them too. Vikings quarterback Sam Darnold's calculated market value for his next contract is 4 years, $219 million, $55 million a year.
Holy
that's been
dude.
Before
it would
the
slot
Detroit
him
game,
in below the
discussed.
top quarterbacks.
That was being discussed. Yes.
That's insane.
Yes, I believe that. So
If that's the case, then Daniel Jones is much more likely to be on the Vikings roster.
Somebody did a story, was it The Athletic or ESPN, before the Detroit game, which had a personnel executive saying that they thought that Darnold was in line for $50 million or more per season.
Yeah.
Yes,
that's crazy.
I buy that.
I think Daniel Jones is on the Vikings roster as the backup. I think he continues. It'd be a great thing for him to he'll make $10 million. They'll look at Darnold and say, well, that dude made $10 million to do the same thing. So, and the cap's going up. So give us $10 to $12 million to be the backup here too.
The caveat is this: if Darnold flames out again spectacularly against the Rams, that contract I think goes out the window.
Yeah, that's the question.
Back-to-back bad games.
I still think his body of work in the regular season overrides. Like, do I think it knocks a year or two off? Like, if he lights it up twice and they go to the NFC Championship game, he's getting 2 or 3 years guaranteed, and he's getting much money.
Right.
If it's a bad performance and they get beat, I still think someone is signing him to be their starter, but the guarantees are a little bit less.
I agree completely. Yes, he will start for a team next season, but like when we're talking about these astronomical potential paydays, I think those go way down. But yes, I'm with you. Someone's going to give him the opportunity, I think, to start in 2025.
Prize Picks has Sam Darnold at 267.5 passing yards. Matthew Stafford at 239.5 passing yards. So they've got the Darnold number way higher than the Stafford number. Jefferson is at like 89.5 receiving yards in this one. So yeah, Prize Picks, great platform to have a little extra fun while you're watching football here during these playoffs, and also all the other sports right now, NBA, NHL, full swing golf. You can win up to 1,000 times your money on Prize Picks. It's really easy. You open up the Prize Picks app, you select between 2 and 6 players, and you pick more or less on their projected stats, and you place your entry. Boom. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use the code PURPLEDAILY and get $50 instantly when you play just $5. That's the Prize Picks app, the code PURPLEDAILY, and you get $50 instantly when you play just $5. Okay, give us the All-Pro list. How many Vikings are? So this is different. This is more prestigious than Pro Bowl. This is the real deal.
Yeah, the Pro Bowl is. I mean, it's fine. There's a ton of players with incentives in their contracts, but the Pro Bowl to me it's more of a popularity contest because there's a lot of spaces available.
Who decides All-Pro?
It's a vote of I believe it's a vote of 50 writers, if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, I think it might be the same folks that decide the Associated Press MVP. Keep in mind, the NFL, and this is weird, but the NFL doesn't have its own awards. So the Associated Press awards are their default official ones. Mm-hmm. So 2 All-Pro teams. The Vikings have 3 players named to the 2 teams. Justin Jefferson, first team, All-Pro. Well-deserved, not surprising at all. The second name, first team, All-Pro. And now you're like, oh my God, did Darnold get first? Oh, he couldn't have. Who could have gotten it? I'm going to tell you right now, Andrew DePaula, the long snapper. He missed 4 games and he's still the greatest long snapper.
Stud.
The Vikings continuing, going back to Mike Morris, the phenomenal list of guys who are long snapping footballs.
How do you go about handicapping the long snapper competition across the league? If you're like a writer and you're looking to get the vote right,
You probably look at the Pro Bowl list and take the Pro Bowl guy and put him out there. And then the second team. So this is still incredibly prestigious. The second team, the guy that Mackey was laughed at, mocked, and ridiculed for putting up in his top, I believe, 10 most important Vikings over the summer.
That wasn't me.
Andrew Van Ginkel is second team. No Grenard, but Van Ginkel.
The Gangster.
The gang.
So three All-Pros for the 14-win Vikings. Pretty impressive. The Gangster. And some of these guys are, like, Grenard's still pretty young.
There were some
Van
snubs,
Ginkel's in his
too.
late 20s.
There were some snubs.
Well, Grenard's a snub for sure.
Yeah. Yep. I'm telling you, the one I want, the position I want cleared up, and I've complained about this enough, though, is the Josh Metellus rover position.
Yeah, he's like created a new job in the NFL. Just a guy who can do everything. And maybe he's not the best at any one of those things, but the fact that he can do all those things, he is the Ben Zobrist is the baseball example.
I was just going to say, he's a utility.
He's the Ben Zobrist. He's not the best second baseman. He's not the best power hitter, but the fact that he can play like 6 different positions.
Correct.
And
there needs to be love for that.
100%.
Yeah, I think isn't Silver Sluggers in baseball, didn't they add like utility to the Silver Slugger department? Like I think Luis Arise won a Silver Slugger again, but he didn't have a position. I think it might just be DH. I don't know. I think they have like a new one for that.
Yeah. So all right, that's your Saturday checkdown episode. Tomorrow we'll make our official picks, and then we're gonna hit you guys with at 9 a.m. on Monday as usual. We'll do our live stream on the Purple Daily YouTube channel, just kind of reacting to the early wave of games. And then Monday night from Glendale, Arizona, Vikings against the Rams in a Vikings vent line, probably for the ages. We'll see what happens in that game right after that game is over. Purple Daily, we just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die.
Just hope the flag comes up, baby.